Hi everybody, this is Paul McFarlane again with another journey into the world, the wonderful kick-ass world of Chiat. Now this is one that I hope David Moore, my friend, knows about. This is talking about how, again, Chiat talks about itself as an ad agency to differentiate and to compel. They did several versions of these. These were in different hardbound books, they call the agency book and whatnot, and where you would buy a spread and tell the world who you were as an ad agency. And what they did in 1983, yes, 1983, that's the year before Apple's 1984 commercial. They did this. How to tell Chiat from an ad agency. You see the work over here and some text. All right, the thing is the work, the stuff for Apple before 1984. Great Yamaha, with the Yamaha Seika. Tear along dotted line. So they went for some pretty broad things from the Pioneer and, University, Cal Berkeley, things I've talked about in previous videos. Even Der Wiener Schnitzel, because trying to show how broad everything is. But what it says, how to tell Chiat from an ad agency. Well, what a great headline that is. It's a how, but think. Most ad agencies say, oh, we're different. But how to tell us from an ad agency is like, it's pretty ballsy. So what do you say next? There are advertising agencies, and then there are advertising agencies. Oh, already, you kind of like they're talking to you, right? It's going to be fun, maybe. We're the second kind. Oh, okay, they're confident. I think I like this. Our unique approach to the business, simply stated, is this. The work comes first. The work comes first. Not the balance sheet or how many offices we have or any of the other outward signs of success agencies get hung up on. Good choice of words there. Getting hung up on. Agencies get hung up on a lot of things. Just look around LinkedIn, you can tell. But the work, bold, daring, different, exciting, memorable, startling, unexpected, persuasive work. It's a nice little stack of adjectives, ending with persuasive, right? We figure if the advertising we create does its job, the client will prosper. And if the client prospers, we will. What? An ad agency actually saying in their self-promotion ad that we want something out of this too? It's refreshing, isn't it? David, I'm going to tag you in this. If there are other ad agency self-promo ads in your huge library, thank you, that talk about what the agency wants out of it, I'd love to see it. So we figure if the advertising we create does its job, the client will prosper, and if the client prospers, we will. And we have. Okay, here we go. Setting a wonderful foundation for we know who we are, we're good at what we do, and we can prove it. Chiat is now the largest West Coast bred agency in the United States. Okay, we're the biggest agency in the United States that was founded on the West Coast. Interesting. We have full-service offices in Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. You always tell when agencies, do their multiple locations, you can either tell the one they say first or the one they say last really matters, right? And we're pleased to say that much, not all, much of that growth was a direct result of the work we produced. Now, wasn't that nice they said that much of that growth, instead of saying the superlative, hyperbolic, everything we do? And we're pleased to say that much of that growth was a direct result of the work we produced. It increased our client sales, and they increased their ad budgets. Well, that's nice to hear. If the work works, you spend more money on it, so it works more. Simple, but rarely said. Our pursuit of new business, you, for example, oh, me, the reader, they're pursuing me, is much less concerned with the immediate bump in billings as it is with establishing that same kind of agency-client relationship. Oh, a creative hotshot talking about client-agency relationships, one in which we can help you grow, and you can do the same for us. So how to tell Chiat Day from an ad agency? Saying they're different. And what's different? They say the work comes first. They talk about how they're the largest agency in the U.S. that was founded in the West Coast. And they talk about the relationship that they have and they want. We do the work. You grow. You help us grow. And they say that 3 different ways, 3 different times. Isn't that wonderful? How to tell Chiat Day from an ad agency. Oh, I think I'm going to talk about one other thing in here. And this goes on to Arrow shirts in New York, which I talked about, I think, at one time or another. God, I love this stuff. God, I love this stuff. The thing is, when... No, not Arrow shirts. We're going to talk about NYNEX, something about NYNEX. You know, NYNEX, this is more about how they got the business and the discussions they had with the clients in the first place. The line, you know, it's always there when you need it. You know, the billboard and everything. Let's read what Stephen Kessler says when he recorded the story about the NYNEX business, how they got it. NYNEX came to talk. Actually, it's a very gray day, and not enough sunlight today, so I'm going to apply the reading glasses in this somewhat dark space here. Zoom. Hello. NYNEX came to talk about a $1 million corporate identity account for NYNEX Information Resources at a time right after deregulation when no one knew who NYNEX was. This is 1986. Deregulation, when the breakup of all the baby bells, yeah. Saw a tool that people had been using was going to get a new name. A woman from NYNEX said, "We want a corporate identity program to tell people what we do within the NYNEX family." And we said, "Well, that's great." And we said, "What is it that you do?" And she said, "Well, we publish the Yellow Pages." "Well, that's great. Why don't we just do some great Yellow Pages advertising for you?" "Well, we want to tell people what else we do," she said. "Well, what else do you do?" "Well, nothing. But someday we're going to do electronics, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that." And we said, "We think it's really important since NYNEX is a new name and the Yellow Pages is an old product, and someday there's going to be competition, that you have to tell people that NYNEX is the Yellow Pages." That old familiar thing that they know in their home all of a sudden has this crazy new name, but somehow it's the same thing. So we were in a pitch against 2 other agencies, and they were pitching for a $1 million corporate identity program, and we were pitching for the entire Yellow Pages account, which we won. And that led us to our first famous commercial in New York, which was the little kid on the book. Now, what is the lesson for today and for always? When you're meeting with a client, when you're pitching a client, maybe the most important thing you have to decide is, what are you really pitching? What is the actual problem you're trying to solve? It may be what they tell you it is. Very well indeed. It may be what they tell you it is. But often, if you're Chiat Day, it's something else. And that's something else that lands you the bigger part of the business and lands you some of the most attention-getting work for an office in New York at the time. Figure out what the real problem is and then solve it like Chiat Day. So, David Moore, again, if you can find an ad from an agency that talks like Chiat Day did here before about how much they want to get out of the relationship as much as the client should get from theirs, I like to see other agencies who've said the same thing, if indeed any have. think about this and do better. Good luck.